Hey, what's up? You're listening to Music Posting. I'm Alex.
And I'm Astrid, and today we're reviewing the new Quadeca album. How do you say it,
Quadeca?
Alex?
I think
Quadeca.
Quadeca. Yeah.
Quadeca. It's weird, yeah. Quadeca, the new mixtape, Scrapyard, has many captivated. A 15-song art pop hip hop mixtape with a near 46-minute runtime. Alex, are you hyped about this?
I am pretty hyped. I really enjoyed this project. There was a lot of genre hopping in like a really fun way. I feel like everything Quadeca tackled on here was pretty enjoyable, from like emo to alternative R&B to experimental hip hop to like alternative rock? Question mark.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on here. But before we jump into it and really dive into the weeds, has there been anything that you've been listening to besides Quadeca?
Oh, you're such a really good podcaster. Uh,
What?
yeah, Alex and I talked right before we hit record that we're gonna have a segment at the beginning of the podcast now where we talk about what we've been listening to. Um, I was in the car, like in an Uber,
Mhm.
and I just keep hearing like DMX in people's Ubers. You know? Do you know DMX?
Is that the first you gotta rock, then you
Yeah,
gotta roll?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by, like, just how aggressive his vocals are, you know? And so,
Super shouty.
yeah, and so I went and I listened to, like, his first major record, It's Dark and Hell Is Hot, and that was, like, a lot of fun, and, I've been listening to, like, a shit ton of, like, breakcore. That's, like, all I've been listening to, like, every day. I just put on, like, these breakcore mixes and, like,
Mhm.
jam the fuck out, and then I found this, album called, or I think it's an EP, called Chaser by Femtonol instead of fentanyl, like fem.
Mhm.
Pretty good stuff.
Well,
Highly recommend if you're into breakcore.
so fentanyl is breakcore?
Yeah, like digital hardcore, like breakcore type stuff. It's just like the newer stuff that they're making sounds more like Machine Girl. If you ever listened to Machine Girl,
I have, yeah.
yeah. So it's like that kind of shit. Digital hardcore. It's just that sort of sound is like captivating me so much recently.
Yeah.
Um, what about you? Like, have you been listening to anything off the pod?
Well, I am a fan of breakcore, but I can't listen to breakcore too often, otherwise it just is on loop in my head, and,
That's fair.
I can't have breakcore going off in my head because 'cause it'll be way harder for me to focus on things than it already is.
Interesting.
Um, but I've been checking out the new country Beyoncé songs.
Ooh.
16 Carriages is really good. I've been listening to more so like singles. Recently I rediscovered Vince Staples. Um, I used to listen to a lot of Vince Staples' Big Fish Theory, but I've just been listening to some of the singles here. Um, some singles from FM, the collaboration with Flume, with Clams Casino, Good Times Ahead. I think Vince
Ooh.
Staples has like a very like stadium sound where the choruses are so catchy you can just imagine screaming them with a bunch of people.
Hell yeah.
Um yeah,
That's a
besides
that Vince Staples one that did that. Okay, I remember Big Fish Theory now because I remember seeing that
yeah,
album cover all the time of the
yeah,
goldfish.
the Goldfish, yeah. It's such
Yeah.
a good album cover and a
Yeah,
great
it's very good.
album. I wanna revisit it, but besides that, I've still had McG on repeat. I really just love that album so much.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. Oh,
Yeah.
I also, listened to this random chip tune album by this artist called Napcast. It's called Paw Print Panic, and it's this it's literally a chip tune album. It sounds like, really old video game music. I found it, like, in the algorithm, you know?
That's awesome.
And
I,
there was
mhm.
this J-pop song I found too in the algorithm the other day, and I can't remember what it is, but so, I'm not probably not worth mentioning. But
Honestly, sometimes J-pop just hits. A little
mhm.
bit of J-pop in the morning while you're on your commute. It's just there's
Mm.
something to it.
Gets you a little pep in your step.
Yeah. I tried making chiptune when I was in high school. I used a Milky Tracker. I don't know
That's
if
so
any.
cute.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I it was definitely a sign of the times because I remember naming one of the songs Epic. Um,
Followed by awesome sauce.
I don't think I had anything called Awesome Sauce, but definitely Epic, and I think I named a song Stargate Lodge, and I don't know why I did that or where it came from, but I was, like, very into Minecraft at the time, and I had built, like, a base, and I called it Stargate Lodge, and then I made that chiptune song as, like, a little
That's
theme song for
awesome.
my base.
That's so cool, though.
Thank you. I've gotta find them. I don't know if I've got them around anymore, but maybe someday.
I get so sad about all the music that I've lost. Because when I was in, middle school and high school, I made a lot of, like, really shitty, like, EDM, and it'd be really
Mm.
interesting to listen to now, but
I
I have
know.
no idea where it is.
I know. Maybe we'll have to do an episode where we dig through our lost media, see if we can try to find it or something.
Yeah, that could be fun. Well, that's our, listening habits recently. Hopefully, you enjoyed that new segment. But the new Quadeca album coming into, this out or I guess not really a album, more of like just a mixtape, an assortment, but it definitely has the length of an album.
Yeah.
My expectations were pretty neutral. Alex brought this to me again. Um, Alex, you have just your finger on the pulse. You know what the people are listening to. And this the 2022 album, I Didn't Mean to Haunt You, was widely beloved, right?
Yeah, that so Quadeca has a very interesting career trajectory. He started off on YouTube making, like, beats and,
Oh, I didn't even
like,
know that.
doing music challenges and stuff. And he had released some albums and some mixtapes of, like, rap and hip hop stuff. Um, some of it was, decent, but it never really got the same kind of reception that I Didn't Mean to Haunt You had. I think a turning point for him was when he released the single, Sisyphus.
Mm,
That was when you really noticed he started taking things in a more experimental and artistic direction. Sisyphus is actually, like, just such a great cinematic, experimental single, like, it's genuinely a great song, um, and that was a cut from his album, um, From Me to You.
mhm.
So I think people started taking Quadeca more seriously after he had released From Me to You. It was like a more mature project. It felt like he had put uh, more thought into the choices and the production he was making. I know a lot of people really liked voice memos, so
Mm.
he had already been on people's radar since then. But when I Didn't Mean to Haunt You came out, people started really taking notice of, like, oh, this is actually, like, a very, like, serious artist here. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
and leading up to this mixtape, which is called Scrapyard, Quadeca had been releasing these EPs, basically titled Scrapyard 1, 2, and 3, which basically would have like a couple songs on them, and I think maybe 7 or 8 in total throughout those 3 EPs, and those are all on this mixtape as well as, some other stuff as well. So, it's sort of just like a compilation of sound, but a lot of people are really excited about this, even though it is sort of just a mixtape. People are really digging into a lot of these songs, which is cool to see. And, so I guess for me, like, going into this, unlike a lot of our other episodes, I wasn't really thinking of this as like a concept album or anything. You know, I wasn't trying to
mhm.
look for interconnected themes because I don't think that's really the point. Um but that's how I looked at it personally.
Yeah, I think it is more of, like, a collection of songs. I mean, a scrapyard or, yeah, a scrapyard being, like, a place where you send a bunch of things that you no longer need, like,
Right.
kind of repurposed. So that's a bit like what this album feels like, especially with how much genre hopping there is. It seems like maybe these were songs that Quadeca had been working on that didn't make it into other projects. But I think he still managed to have like a cohesive overall vision. And to me, it seems like this album is kind of like a breakup album, at least is how I interpret it.
There are
Um,
definitely yeah, there are although I try not to, look too much at the interconnecting themes, there's a lot of themes that repeat themselves. Even if not every
yeah,
song is necessarily tied into
yeah,
the same theme, there are a lot of sort of repeat, themes and discussions in the lyrics. Um,
definitely.
Before we jump in, I had an idea. What if we try to guess what each other's favorite tracks are gonna be before we talk
Ooh.
about them?
Okay. Are we
We don't
gonna, like
reveal
we
right
don't
now.
reveal?
No.
Gosh.
I
Um,
think can I guess yours?
yeah.
I think, it's gonna be "A La Carte" or "Pretty Privilege."
Okay. Can I guess yours?
Yeah.
Dust Cutter and, um, honestly, I'm not sure. I think your favorites were probably Dust Cutter and,
It could
I'm
be
gonna say
"Dust Cutter."
I'm gonna say Dust Cutter.
Well, "Dust Cutter" is the first song. Do you wanna jump into it?
I do wanna jump into it, yeah. Um, you know what's interesting though is usually as we go, we kinda say what our favorite songs are.
I know, yeah, so now it's in the back of our head. Are we gonna be
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think I'm just gonna come out with it because I had a few
Okay.
favorite songs on this project.
Alright.
Dust Cutter was one of my favorite songs on this project.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was, like a very inventive production process, like with the whole like when I own it and it's like this kind of like offbeat guitar
Mhm.
strumming. Um, you know, it sounds like super distorted and it's like kind of all over the place. And then there's this other guitar playing some emo chords in the back, and then the snare when the snare comes in, everything on this album sounds very metallic and distorted, like very rough around the edges intentionally.
Mm.
But I think for me, like the hook, like the close your eyes, um, and the like the following line, please don't leave me out in the cold, leave me out to dry. I just think that hook is so infectious. Um, so it definitely helped me get into this album. It just grabbed me right away.
Yeah, no, I actually have the same exact response here. When this album kicks off, just the very, like, cool sounds right out the gate.
Hmm.
I mean, I immediately I was just kinda thinking of, like, winding toys, like, in
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
junkyard or scrapyard, just
Yeah.
very metal, like, sound not like metal as in the genre, but, like, literal metal. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you have, like, these nice falsettos or, like, pitched up vocals, and this just sounds really cool against, like, this chaotic collage of sound. This is not really what I was expecting at all, and honestly, like, the instrumentation here, I kinda wish, spread throughout some of the other songs because this song is just really neat, just the
Yeah.
instrumentation specifically.
I wasn't expecting this song either, especially given, um, his previous work. This was, like, a lot more aggressive out of the gate, and despite having these rough metallic sounds, it's still, like, a very beautiful song because there's still very, like, beautiful melodies and harmonies going on, and there is still space for, like, beautiful sounds, so,
Yeah,
um
and I actually really think it's kind of neat how chaotic and harsh the instrumentation sounds, coupled with this like very breathy, like reverberated, almost like desperate sounding vocals. Like they sound like they're kind of clawing at you.
Yeah,
It's just like
yeah,
very emotional sounding vocals, and I also love like the winding out sound at the end of the song that sort of like warbles out. I don't know.
yeah.
This song's yeah pretty good. It's not my favorite, but like it's up there. Like this surprised me. I was like, damn, okay, this is pretty good.
It no, yeah, I think he put so much thought and care into this song in particular, um, to the point where in the music video, he actually worked with an ASL, instructor in order to learn how to sign the lyrics. So the music video is him signing the lyrics,
Oh, that's cool.
um it's really cool, and, another shout out to Dev Lemons, who is, an artist, who kinda makes, like, pop stuff. She actually also does stuff on YouTube, and she co-directed the music video for Dust Cutter. So, it's like a very, it's very inspiring to see these people who are on YouTube in the YouTube space just making this really cool art. I really like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of, there's a lot of stigma against, like, a YouTuber doing anything. I think it's often seen as like, "Oh, like, YouTuber, like, stay in your lane," you know? I've
Yeah,
heard, like, voice actors talk about this even or, game devs or it's just this sort of common theme. For some reason, people have this stigma, but really at the end of the day, like, a YouTuber is just just a person like anybody else, you know?
yeah,
I
pretty
think the
much.
problem is you do have, right, artists that maybe just capitalize on the fact that they have a big audience and then, make something kind of shoveled out, um, when it comes to the music. But there's also a lot of people who are on YouTube who make a lot of really cool, interesting art, whether it be in music or the visual arts. This song let me it made me realize how to spell minutia because I didn't know how to spell that.
Yeah.
And I
I've
was
been
like,
struggling
wow,
with that too.
that's how you spell that? I've never written that out.
Yeah.
Minutiae. That's crazy. That doesn't
That's
even look like a word. It looks like a misspelling.
honestly, I've given up on spelling, like, I've just gotten so bad at it. Oh, also, I realize now the sound I've been listening to it as we've been talking, the sound at the beginning, it's actually, like an Indian drum. Like,
Mm,
yeah, it's like a distorted, pitched, messed up, Indian drum.
that's cool.
It is pretty cool, yeah, I think it's a pretty inventive sample. He definitely was thinking about the minutia behind this song.
Oh, man. I just wish I could get that drum, that instrument in the beginning à la carte, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, I know I know what you're saying. This is track 2 with Breakins. Do you know Breakins?
No, I don't. Tell me.
This is a, hyperpop artist who's known for his blend of, like, emo hyperpop.
Okay.
And he's got, like, a very, like, fitting emo voice to go with it.
Yeah, I so this track is interesting because the Brackens, I've never heard of that. That's like sounds very similar to the Mob and Lethal Company, but the the Brackens verse here is, in my opinion, the best part of the song. Like I think, not to say I don't like the Quadeca verses necessarily, but I
Mhm.
just think Brackens like went over this like way better. I wasn't really like vibing with the song or like the lyrics very much until the Brackens verse, and I was like, "Oh, wait, this is actually pretty Brackens is kinda killing it." So maybe I gotta check out Brackens
Yeah, I would definitely recommend checking out Breakins. He
or
has
Breakins.
no, it's all good. He has some really good songs. I'm trying to think of the one that, was, like, really popular. You could check out 5G. That one is, a
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
popular breakin' song, and I feel like it can, help you learn what breakins is all about, but I kind of agree, actually. I think where this song really came into its own for me was the breakins verse. Um, just the way he sings it is so passionate. There's a lot of emotion in his voice, and it really suits, like, those guitars and just everything that's going on in this song. Um Lyrically, I think this is kind of like a breakup love song type thing. Um,
Lyrically, this shit was grossing me out.
yeah, well, I think there was some pretty, like, explicit, uh
Yeah,
there
I'd
was some
rather be
pretty
inside my head than you, because it gets so deep and
yeah.
it goes so deep, I'm never pulling out.
Yeah, I don't know about that line. It kinda made me do a double take.
Yeah, I was a little I had to sort of, like, distance myself from the vocals of this one. Maybe similar to what you had to do when you listened to Death Grips.
Yeah, I think, it was a bit explicit, but I think it makes sense for the kind of, like, raw emotional delivery they're going for, like, sometimes you just say those kind of
Yeah,
raw
and
things.
it's a sort of a double entendre, like, it's not the whole song isn't like that. It's more of, like honestly, I would describe this whole album as a collection of, like, soft boy anthems, and I don't mean that in a disparaging way. I think it's, like this is very much like soft boy music, it's like, "Ooh woo," like, "Let's hug it out."
Yeah.
And
You well,
I
you
think that
can oh, go
sorry, what were you
ahead.
gonna say?
No, 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 go ahead.
I just think, yeah, this is definitely, like, a lot of double entendre about emotional romance, and I think there's also, like, some commentary here about, like, in the midst of being kind of an up and coming artist and being sort of feeling like you're, like, in a void, like, lines about not wanting to give up future albums to, like, these huge, companies in the industry and owning your own music, but then sort of at the end of the day, kinda doom and gloom, returning home from a flight and sort of still fixated on this romance that didn't maybe work out and,
Yeah.
fantasizing about having just a piece of it à la carte.
Yeah. I feel you there for sure, and I kind of agree with, like, the soft boy anthems, not in a disparaging way, but,
No, no, no.
there is, like, a lot of romance going on here and a lot of, like, angsty emo delivery and angsty emo lines, like, "You can have my tongue if you take it à la carte."
Mhm.
Um, I think that's, you know what I mean. You know what I
No, I get you. I like the fluttering synth sounds in the background, and it was also, like, really fun to hear this song after the last one, because now, like you're talking about, like, every song does feel a little different,
Mhm.
because it is just kind of a collection of stuff he's probably just been, working on over the year, and,
Yeah,
it's cool to hear these different sounds.
I think so too. Um I don't know if I have much more to say about this song. I thought it was just kind of like, a classic track 2 banger. Um, I don't know if it was my favorite on the album. I think it served its purpose though.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, this one is radio friendly.
Yeah. Do you wanna talk about Pretty Privilege?
Pretty privilege.
Yeah. So this
Actually,
one
yeah.
go ahead, go ahead.
No, 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 go, go, go.
This one opens up with some pretty emo guitars once again. Um And I think the singing is pretty interesting, like, with the whole, "What did you say I was pretty?"
Yeah.
I like Quadeca's delivery here a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Um, and I think he has, one of the best lines in
I
this
know what you're gonna
album.
say.
What am I gonna
I'm the
say?
baddest bitch west of the Mississippi.
Yeah, I just thought that was, like, a really clever line. It's cool because typically, pretty privilege, you think of it when you're referring to, like, femme presenting people or, like, AFAB people.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's cool that Quadeca is kind of, like, subverting that expectation, but not in a way where it's like, he actually thinks he has this pretty privilege. He's actually talking a lot about his insecurities, like, "I'm sucking in my
Mhm.
stomach just to hug you like you want me to." I think this
Yeah.
song is more about, like, forcing yourself to fit a certain image or expectation in order to please someone else,
Mhm.
and kind of giving up, like, truly being comfortable in yourself in order to please someone else, which I think is very fitting for the emo instrumentation going on.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure if, Quadeca was speaking from his own point of view as and like you said, subverting the expectations, which is an interesting, uh, thought process. I think it could also be he's, like, speaking from the perspective of someone else, but either way,
Mm,
there's a lot of, like, vocals, that are, yeah, like you said, just very self-disparaging lines. I also like the sucking in my stomach, and I think it's, I agree, it's about trying to be something you're not, like, writhing in this low self-esteem and, like, giving yourself to someone in exactly the manner that you feel you should for them and not
yeah.
yourself.
Because I think what's happening here is Quadeca is really putting this person on a pedestal,
Mhm,
and, like, knows how pretty this other person really is. So he's, like, twisting his hair just for them, or, everybody tells me I'm so lucky to be loved by you. Lucky me, you looked at me like you just noticed something new." Like, almost like, this person is not seeing Quadeca for who he is because he has to meet these standards in order to please them. Maybe not even just in terms of pretty standards, but also emotional standards. Like, I think I'm sucking in my stomach can also be like a metaphor for having to keep your emotions, like, close to your chest. You know what I mean? Like,
mhm.
you get those gut feelings, you have to suck them back in so that you don't, you know, share them with the other person because you don't want to ruin things.
Yeah, and so, I mean, ultimately, not worth it for anybody. For either person.
Ultimately
To
not
you
worth it
gotta
for anybody.
gotta be yourself. Yeah, I also liked the instrumentation here when the sort of, like, high-pitched guitar synth comes in and kinda squeals
Mhm.
at you, and then I really like that. It adds to, like, the despair of the song because I think, this is
Yeah.
kind of a despairing song. I also really like the breakdown towards the end of the song.
Me too, like, when the piano comes in
Mhm.
after the beat drops.
Yeah, and I think it also, like, wrapped up the choir vocals well, which I wasn't quite sure if they were working necessarily, but then I felt like they
Mm,
wrapped themselves up really nice towards the end. And then there's, like, a
Yeah.
drum breakdown, and that I was really grooving during the drum breakdown.
Yeah, I thought the drum breakdown was so climactic,
Mhm.
like, the song had a sense of direction, um, but the piano is gorgeous. I actually really liked the choir vocals. I think they are in service of the piano too, like, just these strange harmonies that feel like they shouldn't belong here, but
Mm.
it's like a it's there's definitely some dissonant stuff at play, but I think it kind of feeds into this dissonant feeling that Quadeca is maybe experiencing.
Yeah, for sure. There are a lot of dissonant sounds in general in a lot of these tracks,
Yeah.
some are very neat.
Oh, yeah. And, some are easier to listen to than others. They're all easy to listen to. I just wanted to transition into easier, which starts with this very, like, beautiful and dissonant string section. As well as
Yeah.
a piano that is playing these beautiful harmonies. Actually, this was also one of my favorites. Am I supposed to save that till the end?
No, you can talk about that while we talk about them.
Yeah. Um, this was one of my favorites. I think it was very interesting, um, like, from a songwriting point of view. I think it was, like, very honest and very, very, like, upfront and raw. It's something you don't really get a lot from songwriting, in this sort of style. And I also liked the vocal delivery, like the whole, um, "I want you 'cause you're easier than
Yeah.
nothing, babe."
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool just, vocal moments like that, I think especially in the choruses. Um, this track does have more of an orchestral sound,
Mhm.
uh, and at this point in the album, I was starting to feel, like, pretty impressed by it, just the variance that which at which Quadeca can hit you at.
Yeah.
But it was like you said, it was also really cool how distorted and raw this song gets, despite being, like, orchestral. You know, you get, like, really cool distorted percussion and, like, loud bass drum and, like, just, like, plucky, almost, like, offbeat percussion as well. It just, like, it adds to, like, the atmosphere of the track,
Mhm.
makes you feel, like, a little uneasy, and, I think it's pretty cool. Like, production-wise, a lot of these songs are definitely, like, hitting for me.
Yeah.
They just sound very nice. Like, I like the plucky guitar, like, kinda like these, like, pop sounds, and, like, some wind comes in towards the end of the song. Just, like,
Yeah.
cool atmosphere, basically.
Yeah. This one is definitely the first, like, reprieve in the album. It's a lot lighter. It feels a lot lighter. It has a lot more room to breathe. Um, the percussion is also very soft and minimal. I think it kind of gives it more space for the actual, like, vocals and for the actual, like, lyrical content to shine. Um, I think, uh, this is kinda in some ways the nucleus of the messaging that Quadeca is trying to get across here.
Mm.
Um so I'll just read you this verse. Show me your version of hell. You shouldn't go by yourself. But oh my God, maybe I'm not in love. It's just the thought of you. But sometimes it's not enough. Okay, it's hard to explain. Maybe I'm so in love. I followed the open arms that bury me from above. And you said it would be okay. And then the chorus, because I want you when you're easier than nothing. I want you when you're easier than nothing. So it's kind of like recognizing that maybe this is maybe a toxic situation, but still not stepping away from it because it's just easier for Quadeca to be with this person than to be alone. Um, which honestly, I respect the honesty and just the sheer ability to communicate that in a song. I think that's like something not a lot of people would be willing to admit.
Yeah, that's fair. I think definitely think it's kinda the chorus to me is kind of repeating the same sort of messaging from A La Carte, like, sort of
Mhm.
wanting this other person when it's easier than nothing. Like, just wanting the good moments, but recognizing that maybe, like, the full sort of accompaniment here is not worth it, to some extent. But, there's a lot of confusion, in these lyrics as well. I feel like they're grappling with not quite being sure if they really want the person or not. And, yeah.
Yeah. Like, you shouldn't want to be with someone because it's easier to be with them than it is to be alone. Then it's like, you don't really it's not really the person that you care about, you know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
you should want someone despite it being easy or not easy, or it's like what am I trying to say? You should want to just be with someone and be okay with being alone, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. You gotta love yourself.
You gotta love yourself. Even if I tried, I
Track 5.
tried to transition that
Yeah, I was
again.
thinking too, that's why I went silent, was nothing. Even if I tried, I couldn't come up with a good transition there.
Yeah.
Um, this is definitely more of an epic song. I was actually, because you were kinda DMing me like, "Damn, I'm listening to this Quadeca at the gym," and when I listened to this one, I was like, I feel like what if this came on while you were at the gym, I feel like it probably pumped you up, because this felt
Yeah,
like more of an epic self-congratulatory, like, good workout song.
I actually, it's funny you say that because I actually set a personal record on my standing shoulder press to this song.
Well,
Yeah,
congratulations.
thank you, thank you. This was a lot more epic, yeah, there was there's a really cool build up, um, with, like, how the vocals are it feels like whisper shouting almost,
Mm.
um it's like a very steady, like, m it's like, it wants to go over the edge, but it restrains itself in a tasteful way. So, it creates this sense of tension that is just very effective, I think.
Yeah, this is the first song where, and again, when I compare an artist to something that I've heard before, it's not because it sounds exactly like it. It's just because we're all building, when we're listening to something, we're building off the experience we already have. But I was getting like Peggy vibes from this song.
Yeah.
Does that hit you? Yeah, I there
A
were
little bit.
this song and then like a couple songs in the future very much just sounded like sort of like Peggy's delivery, I guess. Maybe not the instrumentation, but just the delivery to me sounded kinda Peggy, which is
Yeah, like,
cool.
the
I mean, I
kind
like
of
Peggy's.
no, I agree with, like, the kind of, like, the whispery almost, like, whisper shouting. I think that Peggy does pretty often.
Mm. And then, yeah, I like also when this song sort of randomly switches to, like, this loud, blaring synth and the song kinda, like, slows itself down towards the end. That's really
Yeah,
cool. Like, if it like, honestly, like, every track is, really dynamic, which I think I have to give props to Quadeca for. It
yeah,
doesn't feel like the songs don't feel like they end too short. They have, like, time to breathe, and they're progressive. Like, by the end of the song, it sounds totally different than the beginning of the song, and that's just
yeah.
something to appreciate instead of, a normal verse, chorus, verse, and, call it a day.
I agree. I totally agree, yeah. So props to him there for making these dynamic songs that have a little thought being put into them.
What's it to him, huh? What's it to him? Track
What's
6.
track 6? Okay, hear me out.
Mhm.
Were you getting, like, Beatles vibes on this song?
It definitely was more lo-fi. Like, it felt vintage.
Yeah, it felt like, at least to me, with some of the guitars, especially some of the, really high panned guitars, like the stereo, it just felt like, the Beatles, if the Beatles had dropped a well, they did drop acid, but if they did a bunch of, like, maybe hard drugs and used a lot of hard instrumentation. Also just with, like, how he delivers some of these lines, like "I'd like to hide a little less."
Mhm.
Um, to me, it just for whatever reason, it just seemed very Beatles. I don't know, maybe I'm insane for thinking that.
No, that's fair. I wrote down in my notes that it reminded me of this, uh, artist called Arthur, which is sort of
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
just the way that the vocals were mixed sorta gave me, like, an Arthur vibe. It is very lo-fi, it's very nostalgia, vintage kinda sounding, and,
Yeah.
yeah, I think, like, the chorus of this song, what you were just saying, like, that's probably my favorite part of the entire album, I think.
Really?
This might be my favorite song.
Okay, I honestly would not have seen that coming, but that's great, yeah. I think the chorus is really fun. It does sound like there's a lot of really, plucky guitars. I think, um, they sound, like, kind of thin, but, still full, but thin as in they can cut through the mix. Um, it's fun. I think it's fun.
Yeah, I think I like how weird and, like, unsure it sounds the whole song, and then this like, the choruses just hit, and they're just, like, very loud and very cathartic, like, every time. Like, I don't know, like, the choruses of this song are just like, it's just infectious to me. Like, if there's any song I'm gonna return to,
It's
it
gonna
would
be
be
that
this
one.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. I, uh I really respect that opinion. I never would have thought that that would be your favorite, but I respect it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Do you wanna move into "You Don't Know Me Like That," track 7 on this project?
Yeah, similar sort of lo-fi vocals on this one right off the bat. They're kind of, like, quiet at some points, but I think it's kind of a cool production choice. I vibe with the lyrics a lot, in verse 2 about just coming in the room, stomping a bit, and running away and hiding. I feel like that's, I love to do that.
Yeah. I think lyrically, this is another very interesting song, and Quadeca sings it with, like, this almost, like, uh, desperate falsetto is how I would describe it. Like,
Mhm.
it sounds like someone, like, airing out their grievances or, like, crying or maybe having a breakdown,
Yeah,
um, set to this very soft piano, um, with, like, cool strings in the back as well. It's a very beautiful instrumental, and it's a very beautiful set of lyrics as well. This was also one of my favorites. Um, I think this song is kinda devastating in a different way. Like, here, take a listen to this. "Talking all night, I held you still, but you don't know me like that, and you never will. Calling all night, it was never real because you don't know me like that, and you never will." It's kind of in my opinion, it's about, like, you're trying to connect with this person, but you're kind of faking it. You're not, like, giving them, like, all of you, you're just giving them, like, little bits and pieces, and you're hiding away,
mm,
which is kind of a sad thing to think about, right? It's like, ideally, in this context, with someone at least who is supposed to bring you comfort, you wanna be able to tell them everything, or you wanna be able to tell them more, and for whatever reason, Quadeca is, keeping everything to his chest. And, as a result, it's causing him a lot of this, emotional turmoil, right? It's, like, hard to have
yeah.
these walls up with people.
Yeah, and I also, to go back into sort of more of the fun aspects of the song, I think, like, in verse 2 or I mean, actually throughout the whole song, I just like how he kinda repeats the lyrics, like, all," like, that kinda stuff. It's just kinda fun. It just
Yeah.
sounds like he's having fun with the lyrics here. I think lyrically, this is a pretty decent song, and although it is pretty sad, like you said. I like sort of just the lines leave kind of out of context in the post-chorus, like, "The most vulnerable decay." Just, like, a really
Yeah.
cool line.
Yeah. Well, I think this song, kind of being about a failed relationship, vulnerable decay is a good way to put it because I feel like in the immediate aftermath of a failed relationship, you know you have to put these walls up with people, like, you have to set boundaries.
Mhm.
Um, but you have just recently, like, bore your whole soul to this person.
Right.
Like, they know so much about you more than maybe anyone else does, and meanwhile, it it feels like you're decaying into a special type of sadness that feels, like, hollow and shelled out because you're on your way to becoming strangers, and you just can't, open yourself up to that person in the same way that you used to be able to.
Damn. This is a sad thing to say. But you're right, I mean,
Yeah.
that is what this is about. It's a sad song, huh?
It is a sad song, but what's interesting is he follows it up with, like, a banger, question mark? I make it look effortless,
Yeah, this is another, like, back to our Slay shit, this is back to the big anthems here.
yeah. What did you think of this song?
Um, I think it was okay. I honestly
Yeah,
didn't
me
write
too.
write too much down for it. It was kinda like a nice guys finish last type song,
A
like,
bit, right?
hold the door open for you shit.
Yeah, it was a bit much, I think maybe sometimes Quadeca ventures into the territory of, like, too much self-pity, not to say that in, like, a in, like, a mean way, um, but I respect how much he's willing to open up his emotions and how much he's willing to let this sort of thing out. Um, but it is a bit sad boy. Like, I'm filling my cup, but it's still half empty. I feel like a
Yeah,
pessimist.
that's a little cheesy.
It's a bit right. It's a bit much. She thinks she in love, but she only half met me.
Yeah,
Um,
I sort of think like this song, we these sorts of themes and messages that Quadeca is talking about in this verse, what you're reading right now, have already been displayed in much more eloquent or interesting ways up
yeah.
to this song. So at this point, you're kind of maybe a little tired,
I
right?
think so, and I think, like, later in the song, he gets into the themes of, like, still being there for someone in a much, much better way. Like, here, it
Mhm.
kind of feels like a little bit like, "Woe is me, woe is me."
Mhm.
Um, I do think the instrumental is cool, like,
Yeah.
the plucks being sampled and the bass and the percussion is cool, but
And to
yeah,
be fair, this is a shorter song.
it's only a minute.
It's more of a just an intermission. And again, it reminds me of Peggy again. I feel like in a
Yeah,
lot of Peggy's albums too, you get these like 1 minute intermission songs. Um, so but yeah,
yeah,
there's not too much to say about this one. I think we've kind of hit on a lot of the themes
yeah,
already, and it's a short song.
yeah. I think we can move on to Way Too Many Friends.
The chorus here is infectious on Way Too Many Friends. I love how, like, layered it is, just repeating, "I got way too many friends." And, verse 2 had, like, really good flow
I
as
got way too
well.
many friends. I got way too many
Many
friends. I got
friends,
way
I got
too
way
many.
too many
I
Yeah, that's it.
agree
I mean, like,
completely.
I honestly, that's one of the few, parts of the album where I can actually, like, remember how it went because
I
usually I
got
have
way too
trouble with
many
that.
friends. I got way too many
Many
friends. I got
friends,
way
I got
too
way
many.
too many friends.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just good, yeah.
it is just good. I love how it opens up. The piano is very unexpected, like from a harmony point of view.
Mm.
He's doing some funky stuff, um, and the percussion is very forward thinking. I think, and I like the flow, like you were saying in the second verse. I think it's cool. This is a good song.
Yeah, and it's, chaotic too, very chaotic keys, and obviously you have, like, just the constant repeated, like, layered lines in the vocals and in the chorus, and so, yeah, it's a pretty good song. I would say this is one of my favorites, I would say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's like, just in terms of sound, you know? Like, lyrically, I mean, there's not as much to chew on, but it's just I don't know, I really like the chorus.
Yeah, the chorus is great.
A lot of good
I
hooks.
I agree. I think it is interesting though to explore like lyrically the concept of like you have all these people and so as a result you don't give enough time to
Mhm.
everyone that you have. It's almost like you're spread too thin.
Spread too thin.
Um or also like your friends just pointing out like your flaws and stuff like that. So it's like being pulled in like these different directions. On the one hand, you can't give enough time. On the other hand, they're, maybe like criticizing you or so you kind of like in a way feel like, you don't actually miss these people because
Yeah.
you don't give them enough time in order to have the emotional investment of missing them. I think that's, again, like, very honest. These kinds of feelings, like, they seem very rough to express. Like, I mean, imagine hearing that from someone, right? Like, you
Right.
know, I like, if someone, like, told you honestly, like, "I told you I miss you, but actually I don't really care. I'm just, like, pretending that I miss you because I don't have that emotional investment in you anymore." I think it fits the ethos of a scrapyard very well to express something like that.
Yeah, and it's cool to sort of hit this theme instead of just themes of, 'cause I think, Quadeca is more talking about a specific person that they love, like, throughout these
Mhm.
songs, and this is more so, like, how is this affecting my social life as well? And then, kind of also talking about his social life, and I think the line, "Done and dusted, you cannot touch this because 'cause I'm reluctant when I dance," is, like, a pretty good way of just describing the whole, vibe of this song, or really the
Yeah.
vibe of a lot of these songs.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree for sure.
Guess who?
Guess Who? I really like this song.
Yeah.
Um, it opens, like, with this it opens with this really cool square wave that is going like,
Yeah.
"Ba-da-da, ba-da-da," like, it's almost like a club banger, and there's, like, this really distorted 808 blaring, and
Mhm.
then you get these, like, sparse but snappy, like, trap, percussions, um and then, I mean, this is just a club banger, right? Like, "Guess who
Yeah.
walked straight into the venue, had to go through the back? Guess who went in out of your city, didn't even unpack? Yeah, true, I play with the money in your pitch like my name's Salah. Um, yeah,
Yeah, actually
true,
kinda
that's
coming out the
Netflix,
gate
baby. Hear what I say, ta-da."
with some heat.
Oh, yeah, this song is a banger through and through. Like,
Yeah,
this is, go ahead, go ahead.
no, 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 you go.
I also just like how he does the whole, like, "Guess who?" Like, that sorta thing.
Mhm.
Just gives it a little zhuzh.
A little zhuzh.
Yeah.
Yeah, at first I was, like, kind of unsure what to think about this song. It,
Mhm.
like in the beginning of it, it was just kind of unsettling to me. Like, the synth sounded like a Game Boy game or something. Like, I had
Mhm.
this Ren and Stimpy Game Boy game when I was
Mhm.
a kid, and that shit, like, had like, it sounded like that shit. I probably what you were talking about, the square waves. Um
Yeah. Very aggressive, dissonant square waves.
It was just interesting, from a production standpoint, but as it, like, progresses, it gets more energetic and, like, the synths and the bass, they get more distorted and Quadeca gets louder, and that's I mean, it really becomes club banger. And then, yeah, guess who, it's me, which, it sounds like an intro to, like, a big bad wrestler, like, coming out in a WWE match.
Yeah. Yeah.
This song's
I
definitely maybe the most in your face song on this whole project.
Yeah, he also, kind of flexes his success and, wealth and money
Yeah.
on this track, which I guess, like, fair enough, like, at this point, I feel like given his journey, he deserves
You think he can flex a little bit? Yeah.
a little bit, yeah, I
You
think the
get a little
lyric
flexing as a treat.
yeah, well, it's interesting because the lyrics also are, like, referential to his journey and his come up, because he is still a fairly young guy, and he references that in the lyrics, "Even if the bouncer double takes at my ID because I blew up way before I even turned 19." Um,
Mm.
he was touring pretty young. I think that's pretty cool to, like, reference in your lyrics, just to kind of, pay homage to where you started, so I think it's a fun banger. It's a fun banger.
I'm really interested in the psychology of blowing up very young because I feel like it fucks with your brain a little bit.
I think so. Yeah, I think you
Like,
have
you and I
to
blew up on the internet when we were young, you know?
yeah, I think you kinda have to be a certain type of person to be able to handle it, or, you just
Or
have to,
not
like
handle it.
or not handle it, or you just have to
Yeah.
completely detach from that and, like, not let it get to your head. I feel like we've been able to be pretty humble, maybe.
Hope
I
so.
hope. I hope. How would I know, right?
Yeah, but sometimes, it can get under my skin. Track
Oh,
11,
that
"Under
was
My
smooth.
Skin."
That was smooth.
This song feels like a rainy day. The vocals are very reverberated, they sound kinda underwater, and I really, like the visual of, like, literally just putting someone under your skin
Mhm.
for protection, like a kangaroo or something, and also, like, just yearning for that, you know?
Yeah,
I
and
imagine
also
Quadeca just wants to like, you feel like you wanna help somebody, you know?
yeah, it's also, like, keeping them close to your heart, like,
Mhm.
literally under your skin, close to your heart.
Yeah.
I, um, I think it's sung really interestingly, like, it's almost haunting, and, it sounds like a ghost singing this, like, maybe a ghost from someone's past,
Mm.
over these, like, plucky, guitars and this very, like, ambient sounding reverb, and it's, like, a really cool atmosphere, and I really like the lyrics here as well. Um, just like, "When you walk to him, caught a second wind, I'll keep you safe to sound. There's a place that I found I can keep you in. I'll put you under my skin, keep you safe from him. There's a place I found that I can keep you in, I'll keep you under my skin." Um, and then just kind of like letting it all out in the outro. Said I won't kill again, baby. I will repent. Said I'd be there for you, and I still am. I'll be there in spirit. I'll be there in spirit. There's a song that belongs to you. If you care to hear it, if you find me under your skin again, maybe we can be friends. Maybe that would make too much sense. Those eyes redundant. You're still incensed. So why would you come to me right after I built a fence? If I hide you under my skin again, maybe we can pretend that it wouldn't make too much sense for the place we're in. I'll keep you under my skin. I feel like this is what um he was, like, trying to communicate on, I make it look effortless
Mm.
with, like, the "I'll hold the door open for you," like, trying to express support in some way, but it's just done in a much more elegant and poetic way here.
Yeah, for sure. I just like the imagery of, hiding under someone's skin and that being instead of, like, really, like, weird and creepy, actually kind of, like, sweet and because I mean, like, literally, like, physically imagining, like, hiding someone under his
Yeah.
like, usually
Yeah.
that is used as, like, almost like a creepy thing, like burying yourself in
Right, like
skin
getting
or
under someone's skin.
right, but here it's used as more of, like, a sweet, sort of thoughtful embrace of another person, like, being there under your skin and kinda supporting someone.
Yeah,
Um, Towards the
and
end,
mhm.
the that outro is really good, like, he's almost, like, pleading, um, and
Yeah.
the emotional intensity there is really good too.
Yeah, especially with, like, the arps going off in the background, like the
Mhm.
I think it's really cool, like, it has this really cool buildup. Um, and I think he is able to answer the question he asked himself earlier on easier about maybe he loves this person too much. Because I think in order to still love someone who has chosen to be with another person and still choose to support them, I think that's a pretty like open expression of love, like genuine love.
Mm.
So I like this song a lot. I think it's very sweet.
Hell yeah. Being Yourself, track 12.
Being yourself. This is a really cool opener with like the very sparse haunting drums, and then there's like a boom, boom. Like it almost feels like sonar or something, like a doo, like these metallic kind of snares. I think it's a cool opening.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, kinda what the song is gonna be about, if it was gonna be, like, a good message about, uh, being yourself or whatever, but it starts out in, like, verse 1 with, like, a lot of self-hatred,
Mhm.
not wanting to be perceived, and especially not wanting to perceive themselves or perceive anyone else, really.
Yeah.
It's just, like, pure escapism here. But the lyrics are here are more about wanting someone else, to be themselves around you, which we've sort of, covered on a lot of these tracks so far. And I think they want, sort of the happy parts of being around someone. Um, and they don't want to see the wrongs or the negatives. They want to see the true self and have a good time, but maybe they can't have that anymore. And that's kind of
Yeah.
what they're coming to grasp.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the development of this album is, kind of starting off in a place where you have these walls up or you're not able to show yourself totally. Like remember on what's it called? Pretty Privilege. He's
Mm.
like, sucking his stomach in for this person, not being himself. He's kind of like gotten to this place where he's like, okay, well, what, I want you to be I want you to be yourself around me despite everything we've been through because I still want to support you. I still care about you. I feel like when you feel safe around someone and you feel like you can truly be yourself around someone,
Mhm.
you don't have to hide anything, you don't have to like you feel comfortable expressing certain feelings or you get what you need from them. That's kind of like the golden ticket, as it were. And I think Quadeca is still like longing for this person to just like find safety in him.
Mhm. Yeah. I don't have too much to say about it other than that.
Yeah, me too. I think it was a pretty straightforward song, and I like how distorted it gets and all the cool glitches and all the cool like shouting in the back.
This next song, though, you tried that thing where you're human. This is maybe my other favorite song. I
Mm.
really vibed a lot with the intro.
I thought you would
Um,
like this song actually.
yeah, it's just completely stripped back. And he's just sort of repeating like it's time to give up on being human. it sounds like, I don't know how to actually pronounce the name of their band, like Juju or whatever, XIU, XIU. I don't know how to
Yeah,
actually
I
say
think that
their
is Juju.
yeah, they're really good. It's very up close and personal like that. Um, and that headspace, so just like repeating like it's time to give up on being human. It almost like sounds like someone's like in a rocket, like just shooting up away from humanity, you know, they're going into space. You just hear these beep boops that sound
Yeah,
like Atari 2600 sound effects. And
yeah,
you know, you're just like losing sense of yourself. You're losing sense of your humanity. And I guess I just respect how raw it gets in general, close to the mic it is. Um and these Atari sounds kind of repeat into the chorus and you get more percussion and the vocalist is sort of just grasping with becoming something else, just kind of this
yeah.
transformation out of humanity.
Yeah, well, he basically starts, like, crying into the mic, like, with the
Yeah,
vocal delivery, like,
whimpering.
he's literally whimpering in his delivery with which I think is cool. I haven't really, at first, like, I thought, "Okay, maybe it's a bit much." Like, I think Quadeca is very, like, indulgent in
Yeah.
how emotional his delivery in is, but that's what I, um, like so much in a way because it's nice to see someone feel like they can just, like, let everything out and,
Mhm.
just, like, bear it all on display. Um I have to respect the bravery for that because I don't think a lot of people would be willing to commit to that sort of delivery.
Mhm.
Um, and I totally agree with what you were saying about the beeps and boops. I think this instrumental was deliberately chosen to make things sound like alienating so that you
Mhm.
kind of get the sense of not fitting in as a human.
Yeah, it's very
Um,
robotic.
yeah. Um, I think the the messaging here is, more breakup messaging where it's like
Mhm.
he tried to be himself for someone else, and it didn't work out, and it's like, sometimes when that happens, you almost feel a sense of embarrassment. It's
Mhm.
like, "Oh, I, like, showed you every piece of me, and you rejected me, and
Mhm.
now I'm embarrassed because I showed things that make me feel very vulnerable." So it's like I tried to be a human and embrace the total vulnerable aspects of sharing with you, but it didn't work out. So he's kind of like walking away, tail tucked between his legs, heartbroken here.
Yeah, and the choppy bridge is really cool towards the end. And then in the final chorus, you get just like it feels like the vocalist sort of breaking down, becoming something else, and you just sort of like feel your body like leaving
Yeah,
like the horizon. I honestly like maybe this is my favorite song. Honestly, on the whole album.
I forgot to mention it, but I was going to mention it.
That this was my favorite song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is definitely the lowest point on the album, like,
Yeah.
in terms of
It's
where
raw.
Quadeca is at, like, this is very bleak, let's put it that way.
Yeah, and you know me,
Um,
I like the fucking bleak. I'm
you
like
do.
Quadeca says, I'm like the glass half empty, I'm the
I'm a
pessimist.
Yeah, yeah, glass half empty, I'm a pessimist. Do you wanna move on
Amazing
to
bar.
it's an amazing bar. We yeah. Do you wanna move on to Guide Dog?
Guide Dog. I feel like you probably like this song, is that true?
This is one of my favorites.
Yeah, the acoustic,
Yeah,
guitar here is nice, has a very nostalgic, warm feel to it, and it's good to have some stripped back stuff. I mean, if you're gonna have 15 songs on a mixtape, you might as well have 1 acoustic guitar song.
yeah, it's, like, very unplugged,
Yeah,
and the chord progression is very classic, like, classic, R&B, classic, it just sounds good. It's
yeah,
very pleasing sonically on the ears. He also does have these, like, pleading vocals, but it comes off so genuinely, it's, like, hard to hate on it,
mhm,
you know what I
yeah,
mean? Um, I think it sounds very beautiful. The lyrics also are just so beautiful, it I'm just gonna read them. I might
go
just
for
read
it.
the whole lyrics because I need people to hear this.
Okay.
It's that time at the end of the night when you're blind and you hold out your hand till it's mine. I'll walk you, guide dog to you. If I could, I would trade you my eyes because you should see you with the clearness of mine. I wanna be your guide dog. How I describe you when you're not around, you should see for yourself, and I'll find you a confident ground. I'll be there myself. Yeah, I wanna be your guide dog. Please, you would tell me that you don't agree, but I am half the man that you would be if you were me. I watch you like I'm not worthy. Hell, my love songs don't seem to age well, but how long can this speak for itself? I got you till it won't hurt me.
Yeah, I
Like,
think, some of
damn.
the emotional honesty there too is, kind of what you've been talking about throughout a lot of these songs, is that Quadeca is not afraid to lay bare his, emotional intensity and maybe thoughts that not a lot of other people would be willing to share. I mean, the
Yeah.
line "Hell, my love songs don't seem to age well" is like a pretty, real and honest lyric. So I respect that about it,
Yeah. I respect the intensity with which he's delivering these. And I think, it's a very sweet sentiment, right? Like just wanting to be there for someone, wanting to support them. Um And I think maybe he's placing this person on a bit of a pedestal,
for sure.
uh, but, when you do put someone on a pedestal, it's still very real. Like, they don't just get there from nowhere. There's reasons why you put them on that pedestal. Um,
He's
but
such a soft boy, man, you can just see it, and you just see a little dog, just a whimpering dog, just,
yeah,
like,
it's
just
all
watching you know how, like, a sometimes I look at a dog and I feel bad for it because it's just, like, sitting there waiting for its owner to do something, you
yeah,
know? That's
yeah,
what's happening here with Quadeca, he's, like, just this golden retriever just sitting there just waiting.
yeah. Um, I think Quadeca maybe needs to put some energy back into himself.
Yeah.
But I think regardless, the sentiment here is very beautiful of wanting to be someone's guide dog. I say he should put some energy back into himself given the context of the album, but out of context, this song is just gorgeous, and lyrically it's
Yeah.
gorgeous. The sentiment is gorgeous. I think more people need to feel this way about other people. Um, in the context of the album, it's kind of sad because you understand what has come before, but by itself as a standalone, such a beautiful message.
Guide dog, you need to rip off the shirt and become the wolf. Maybe the
Gotta
next album will be a Sigma wolf album.
Sigma Wolf album, you know?
Are
Um,
wolves in Texas or is it just coyotes?
I think it's just coyotes, I don't think they've got wolves.
Yeah,
Um,
are the coyotes blue?
are you talking about our next track, Texas Blue?
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything else.
No, this was a
Texas
good one.
Blue is yeah, I think maybe, up there for me as well. I actually really like
Me
sort of the
too, yeah.
back half of this album. Um, Texas Blue is the longest track on the album, I think. It's pretty long, and, this is the banger that has Kevin Abstract on it, which,
Yeah,
is pretty cool.
I it's a full circle moment because I saw that Quadeca was talking about how, um, he was hugely inspired by a lot of Brockhampton and Kevin Abstract's work, and you can definitely hear that influence with the piano on Texas Blue, which I also think sounds very similar to the piano on Way Too Many Friends. So it
Mm,
does it does kind of have, like, it feels like closure revisiting
mhm.
this melody, but more developed and more fleshed out. Um, and I think it's also like closure slash a full circle moment for Quadeca, who is now getting to work with someone he has looked up to for so long and has made such a beautiful song as well.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've actually listened to Kevin Abstract before. I listened to Arizona Baby, and I thought there were some songs I liked on it. But instead of Arizona, we're in Texas now. I think the piano. I agree. Is some nice closure there. It sounded like it sounded like a Peanuts cartoon song
Oh,
to
look,
me.
I was getting the same, like a Peanuts Christmas kind of vibe, right?
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Ba-na-na, ba-na-na, ba-na.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Ba-na-na-da. Yeah. No, no, no. Really, I was getting that too. I'm glad you mentioned that. I thought I was going insane.
Yeah, and the lyrics here too are cool. I like the line, "The silent treatment gets a little loud, surround sound." Sort of personifying the silence, like making the silence loud is like an interesting idea. And
Mhm.
yeah, I mean maybe this song is the most beautiful on the mixtape. I feel like I'm walking through a park on a sunny day while I listen. It's very uplifting, and it feels like, it does feel like Texas, honestly, like, it
Yeah.
feels like a warm Texas, and it gets louder and louder, and the vocals get layered towards the ear, and you get sort of like some duet moments, it kinda sounds like at least. Like, maybe I think there's, like, a shared verse between Abstract and Quadeca,
I think
and,
so.
yeah, I think this is a good closer to the tape.
I think so too. And I totally hear you and totally agree about it sounding very Texan, especially with the piano and the strings that come in. It's very, it has like this Americana feel to it,
Yeah.
which I think Kevin Abstract actually explores some of those sounds on, um, I think it's called American Boyfriend.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, American Boyfriend, a Suburban Love Story. Um, it's this very nostalgic, sweet sounding sound that I think Kevin Abstract is pretty well known for. Um, lyrically, it seems like they're kind of reflecting on this relationship that has come and gone, just thinking about the good times, taking in the good times, um, and just acknowledging that there's still feelings there, but they're not going to know because they're not going to share that. They're going to bite their tongue. Um, yeah, I think it's a beautiful song, a beautiful way to end out the project. I like this song a lot. It was also one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Very
what did
beautiful strings.
definitely. What did we think of the entire Quadeca Scrapyard album, Alex?
Overall, I think it was a very strong project. Also one of my favorites so far from 2024. I think
Yeah.
maybe a bit too self-indulgent in some parts with the emotional soft boyness.
Mm.
Maybe maybe sometimes um lyrically a bit too much as well with some of the emotional soft boyness, but overall production wise, um feature wise, vision wise, sound wise, other lyrics that were very standout and very strong. I think it was a very solid project. I definitely had a few favorites that I will be returning to and listening to on loop.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it a lot. For me, like this, it wasn't really my thing. If we're being honest, I don't think it was
Hmm.
bad. I think lyrically, there just wasn't really anything for me to empathize with a lot of the time. Like you said, it is like very kind of soft boy, sad boy, music. But in terms of like that kind of thing, I mean, like sad boy, soft boy shit can be like really annoying to hear. So the fact that this is not annoying is is pretty awesome. Like, in terms of, like,
Yeah.
soft boy, sad boy shit, like, this is probably up there, for,
Yeah.
good shit.
Well,
Um
I think sometimes you need to listen to sad boy, soft boy, emo as just like sometimes you just need to hear that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
and
fair.
like although it is indulgent sometimes, I think it is important also to have an outlet for those emotions. And I
Yeah.
really respect how open and honest Quadeca was able to be with some of
No,
those
absolutely.
emotions.
No
Yeah.
shade in that direction, I think, like we've been saying, Quadeca laid their soul a little bit on this, and that's always respectable to me. I always appreciate the raw. And so when this album did sound a little more raw, to me, like, you tried that thing where you're human, which is maybe my favorite, but
Mhm.
also like instrumentally, like raw and chaotic moments with these drum breakdowns, and even just like the opening to the first track, Dust Cutter, is just very chaotic and raw. And so those are some of my more favorite parts of the albums. And I did kind of enjoy sort of the rollout towards the end and the final song. Um, but yeah, I think, if you're into this kind of music, this is probably pretty peak, I would say.
I think so too. I think this is definitely peak emo, uh, peak peak alternative experimental hip hop R&B. Um, and I am a huge sucker for emo. I love my emo sad boy soft boy music. So this is this is I'm eating good right now. Thank you, Quadeca.
Hell yeah. Alright, and that'll be it for us. As always, you can follow us over on Twitter at musicpostingpod, and, we have a link tree, and, you know the jazz. Comment down
Yeah.
below what you thought of the album on Spotify or YouTube, and let us know. We like to read our comments and see what people think.
Let us know. Yeah. Thanks for so much for listening. Um, I think this has been music posting.
You're Alex, and I'm Astrid. Bye.
Later, skater.